Hey everyone, what is up? It is me, Impil here, back for another big Clash Royale video. And after reading the comments for quite some time now, it has finally sunken into my head that everybody watching here wants to see more free-to-play decks. And that's why, starting with today's episode, we're just going to be making best deck videos and tips and tricks. Because as a player, I can totally understand that you want to see good decks, not just clickbait and nonsense videos. So that's why today's episode, we are starting it off strong with my favorite Hog Rider deck. Now you guys might be familiar with this deck. I showcased it last season and the season before that, and that is my 3.3 Hog Rider and Tombstone deck. This thing is such a beast. Not only is it free to play, but because of its super low average cost, you can place a lot of counters and a lot of attacks in a close amount of time. We also have the Minion Horde as a great supporting card, good anti-air card, does great damage, and because people forget to bring arrows nowadays, it is also a good ground card damage dealer. Second of all, Valkyrie, you can't go wrong. It is just like the Executioner card, but except cheaper and has more HP, and that's why I feel that it is a good value to get that card. And next up, Ice Spirit, you can't go wrong with it. It's a good card to back up with your Hog Rider. It is very cheap, and with just a 5 Lexer push, you can get almost 4 to 3 shots with your Hog Rider on enemy towers. Now, I gotta say that first loss was my very first game with this deck. I was just experimenting with the deck for the very first time, and after that first loss, I was able to go on a really good winning streak, just because the deck, I was getting hang of it really easily. It's not a hard deck to use. You just rotate with the Hog Rider, you defend with the Tombstone, and you just place cards down based on what your opponent is attacking with. And so far, what a great start to the game. Hog Rider getting in almost all of its shots, tower remaining at 327 HP, and against the Princess, archers are a great counter just because they can survive a log attack, they can withstand a log card, and just like the Princess, they're 3 Lexer, which means that you can get a nice positive trade, and then you can get a counter push with their archers if you do play with them successfully. Now, I gotta say, Tombstone is a way better card than the Elixir Collector for me when I'm using the Hog Rider, just because with the Hog Rider, there's no need to have an Elixir Collector down. Like, Hog pushes don't cost a lot, so there's no point of having Elixir Collector down. Whenever you put it down, you're just going to be risking yourself to getting attacked again. Ice Spirit takes down those elite barbs, gives our Valkyrie so much time to just do a lot of work, and we counter that very expensive push. And I know the Zap does not one-shot Goblin Barrels, but if it allows my tower to one-shot them instead of two-shot them, then I think it's kind of worth it because we're saving around 500 HP on our tower when we do so. So Tombstone takes out the Hog Rider before it gets a single shot in. That is a nice positive one trade. Alright, so now we got 1 minute and 20 seconds remaining. What can we do to make this game more interesting? Because I already know that we have a massive lead. Alright, so his one tower is basically taken down. We just need to maybe fireball it or send the Hog Rider to it, and that should take it out. But he will be very desperate and he's going to go for a lot of attacks. So that's why maybe we shouldn't be greedy and we should just prepare to defend. So it is now W Elixir. Hog does make it to the crown tower. I mean, it's doing some good damage, but realistically, we're not going to be getting a 3-crown win with this Hog Rider deck. Hogs are good, but they're only good for securing crown towers, never king towers. Fireball needs to take out the Princess. I can't let her just snipe down my tower. Even if that was a -1 trade, I just can't let her do so much damage over time. And I gotta love the Tombstone. Not good for when it's facing you when you have a Hog Rider, but it's great for taking out other Hog Rider decks. And I'm so surprised that even after all these months, ever since the game started, the Hog has been such a strong card. And I kind of know why. It has good HP, it does good damage, and whenever you're using a deck that just doesn't get to the tower, the Hog is a good way to just get past that. And yeah, so the Roy Giant is sort of a similar card to the Hog Rider, except that it's more expensive and more as a tank role. Now, 10 seconds up, we are in a very good position. Let's just be a bit greedy. I know that with 6 seconds, he definitely can't take on my bottom right tower. So I'm just going to go for a last attempt for a second crown tower. And overall, just a really good game. I'm kind of happy because I won my first Hog Rider game. Like, I don't normally use a Hog Rider, so getting my first successful game was kind of a good starting point. But if I didn't get any more wins, then I wouldn't make a video on this deck because, let's be honest, getting 1 win and getting 1 loss, that is not something to be proud of. So let's hop into another game and then a game after that. And let's just see how this Hog Rider does against various types of deck. So now we're facing Sade SW with a balloon deck. So now against this opponent, the Minion Horde is going to be such a stronger tactic. It doesn't look like he does have arrows or a fireball, which means that our Minion Horde will take out that whole very expensive push. And he did spend 9 Elixir on that push, which means that we can just put a Hog Rider, get a couple of shots in, and then just bounce back and play on defense with the Tombstone. Now, there is one problem when facing the balloon with the Minion Horde, and it's pretty obvious. Ever since they did buff the balloon's death damage, It means that when it does die, it can take minions out with it. And similar, when against the golem, your minion horde will get taken out if they aren't in a small proximity to the golem card. And as a bit of a bonus against its opponent, because our Zap is at tournament standard and his Goblin Barrel is one level below tournament standard, it means that our Zap can one-shot the Goblin Barrel, and traditionally, like back in the day, we will get a nice +1 trade. Now, you're going to see me do something a bit cheeky right here. I know that I have no cards right here that will take out the wizard effectively, so I basically distract his wizard with my Hog Rider. He does take a lot of damage, but because I distracted the wizard inside of my turret range, or my tower range, it means that it just gets taken out by the tower and doesn't do a single point of damage, while on our side, we do get one Hog Rider hit. Now, here comes a Golem, and a bit of a spoiler, I didn't mean to bring up the Golem when I was talking about the balloon death damage, but we are facing a balloon and a Golem deck, which is going to be quite difficult for our Minion Horde card, but by just placing down an Ice Spirit and a Valkyrie, and because the skeletons are building up from our tombstone, we are doing a lot of damage with these archers and skeleton cards. And that is how you mop up a very expensive 13 elixir push with just 5 elixir cards. And here's a great counter push, Hog Rider, Valkyrie, and archers. Archers are on such low HP, but it doesn't matter when you have a tank in front of them, and that will be our first tower taken out. Now remember, our average cost is very cheap, so when it is W elixir, the amount of elixir we have available to defend and attack is like unlimited because everything is very cheap. And the Valkyrie is such an effective defensive card. Whenever the opponent enters your side of the base with multiple cards, you just drop it on the support cards and you get such a nice positive trade. And because we're doing so well, we're going for a 3-crown push with a Hog Rider deck, which rarely happens even in grand challenges. So the archers sniped down that second tower. That is nice. And now we're going to go for a Hog Rider push, Valkyrie, Nice Spirit, and with 25 seconds left, we might not get a 3-count win, but the opponent leaves the game. That's how frustrated he is. Now to finish up that King Tower, let's drop down a Minion Horde. That card, I believe, has the joint highest DPS with all of its cards combined, or all of the minions combined. And a perfect game. 3 crowns won, and 0 crowns lost. That is the definition of a perfect Hog Rider game. Now, before we get the chance, let's hop into another game right away. And let's see if we can keep up this amazing streak. Anytime you get above 6 wins in a grand challenge, you're guaranteed like 10,000 gold, a decent amount of cards. So for me, when it comes to playing grand challenges, my bottom line is to get 6 and above wins. If you ever get 12 wins, then that is just amazing. But to get 12 wins all the time consistently, you have to be using a very strong, popular meta deck that also counters meta decks, because honestly in grand challenges, all I see are these copy and paste decks where people just watch other YouTuber videos like mine or Ash's and they just copy down the best deck possible. And I know it is a very smart thing to do, but gameplay wise it does get very annoying. So that's why in the future I'm also going to be making counter meta deck videos, just so that we can get rid of these very annoying and popular decks and try to switch up the gameplay. And yeah, a very bad loss. We lose our tower to the Giants. But you know, we've been having a lot of good counter pushes with this deck, so maybe somehow we can turn this situation around and get a lot of damage off on his top right tower. So our Ice Spirit getting put down, that's a great way to just slow down attacking cards on your Hog Rider. Fireball just barely misses the Bomber card. Bit of a mishap right there, my bad. But because those two cards are very spread apart, it means that our Crown Tower can just take them out before they can do any damage to my King Tower. So my plan now is to just save up Elixir, maybe defend with the Tombstone, because we did spend a lot of juice on that push, which means that he's probably going to go for a counter push any second now. And there we go. Giant going to get defended by the Tombstone. And let's also distract his Wizard with our Valkyrie card for a nice +1 trade. And because our Skeletons were just alive and doing so much work, that Giant didn't even make it to any of our towers. Log is a very powerful card against this deck. It pushes back the Hog Rider, it takes out the Ice Spirit, and it even almost kills your archers entirely, so just watch out for the Log when you are using this deck. Now let's go for a Hog Rider and a Minion Horde push on his top right tower. Now how well can we do with this push? What does he have to defend? Well, a Valkyrie, a couple of Goblins, and a brand new Fireball. Did not expect that spell card to be placed down. I don't know if that's the first time he did reveal the Fireball, but I definitely should have watched out for that. Valkyrie on Valkyrie with a couple of archers, that's going to be a nice positive trade. Let's bump our Valkyrie with the Hog Rider, make it so that she gets to the tower closer or faster. And again, the Fireball just completely misses the Bomber. Another misplay, but because of its low HP, we get the top right crown. And this is why I love the Valkyrie. For only 4 Elixir, we are taking out that total of 8 Elixir support cards. Wizard gets taken out and so does the Bomber. And that is a very good trade. And the Fireball, yeah, it's a good way to take out the minions, but because of its small radius and its long range time, it means that a minion horde could just do so much damage for such a long amount of time. So as shown, guys, with great careful play, we're able to just defend him and do a bit of damage with our Hog Rider over time to get ourselves into a nice position for a 1-1 tie. But it's getting really tight. The Giant makes it to our tower, and the support cards too, so I'm forced to put down a Fireball. Now what I'm going to do now is just keep on defending, and then whenever we get a big substantial Elixir advantage, then I'm just going to go ahead and push with a Hog Rider and a Night Spirit to do some good tower damage. Now right now we're in a very sticky situation. We're getting attacked by a full health Giant, but with the Tombstone as a great distraction card, we can just take out the entirety of that card for just 3 Elixir. And you gotta love the Tombstone. Against Sparkies, against Mortars, anything that has a slow rate of fire that targets all cards, the Tombstone is great against. Alright, so now we are back to defending. Archers and Valkyrie and a Fireball to take out those 2 supporting cards for a crazy ton amount of damage. But it seems a bit repetitive. Whenever we attack, the opponent just expects it and puts down the same Valkyrie and Bomber card to defend. So what I'm going to do next is try to get the opponent out of that rhythm by attacking differently. Tombstone, great distraction. Goblins are going to take it out. But with our Valkyrie, we are going to distract his Goblins, take out the Valkyrie too, and just save our tower from a crazy ton amount of damage. But now we're attacking with a Minion Horde and a Hog Rider. And because he placed a Giant at the back of this base, he was low on Elixir, but we're going to quickly sweep up that Crown Tower. Now his big mistake right there was that he wasted the Fireball on my tower instead of waiting for my Minion Horde. Because remember, his main counter for my Minion Horde was his Fireball, and the moment that was used, I could just push with a high damaging card and get a nice Crown win. So ultimately, you have got to pick up this deck for only 3.3 average cost. It is such a flexible deck, and not to mention it's free to play, no epic cards, and no legendary cards. That's the biggest complaint I've been getting when I make my decks, so that's why in this video, and my next videos, everything shown is going to be free to play friendly. So until the next video, keep on killing it in the comment section. You guys have been so positive, so remember, just comment down below what you want to see next. I'll make sure to just read the comments and do so in the next video. And with all that being said, hope you guys have a great family day.